recording now.
Okay.
And then we're going to go live to Facebook. There's going to be the thing that comes, well, you know how to do this.
Wait, say what you were going to say still.
The tab is going to open that connects to Facebook. We're just going to close the tab and then go back to Zoom. And then you can start doing your thing.
Okay.
As you're waiting for it to start, though, make a good face because everyone's face at the start is like, like deer in headlights. And everyone's starting frozen.
But we can go back and edit them and trim the beginning.
Okay. And I just share the screen, right?
Oh, I'm
I have to share the screen.
What?
I share the screen? Okay.
Oh.
It's my office.
There's my desk. Where's me? Whoa, what is all over? Oh, that's your desk.
Oh, we're going to go live now.
Oh. Everyone else is drunk. Yeah. Oh, no, Pamela's leaving.
Yeah, we're live. This is my good face, though, so. Like. Wow, Gloria, 111. That's good.
Your session is called YES Alumni. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Smile, Hannah.
I just have to share. Hi, everyone. So we are live on Facebook. We're just going to give everyone 10 seconds to come on. Really excited about this. We just had Gloria, who talked a lot about the YES program, which was amazing. That's definitely my colleague. So I'm really, really excited to continue this conversation about YES Alumni. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, again, for taking the time to drop by our Passport to iEARN all-day virtual event. My name is Hananatu Tunis, but feel free to call me Hana. I am the YES Program Coordinator at iEARN-USA, and we're so glad to have you. All of us here are a believer in just having a strong impact through international education, virtual exchange programs, and physical exchange programs. And as I said, my colleague Gloria talked a lot about the YES program. So I'm going to dive in to YES Alumni, the heart of the YES community. So I'm so excited to be talking about this. I wish I was a YES alumna. And we have a special guest joining us today. But before we get into that, I just want to go ahead and share my screen. Again, if you're watching, well, not again, first time saying this, please go ahead and share the video. If you're watching right now, feel free to share with your own networks because we really want international education to reach the international community. So please go ahead and share that. I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so today we will be meeting YES Alumni. We have Tufik Tuhin joining us today. Tuhin is from Bangladesh, and we did have Philly joining us from Mali, but unfortunately Philly could not join us today, but it's all right. We're still going to talk to you about what Philly is doing. And the purpose of this, this broadcast is to just let you know who YES Alumni are and what they're doing to make a change and an impact in their communities. And I hope everyone definitely is moved to donate to this, to iEARN-USA, who's funding this program. So thank you. All right, so again, as Gloria said, the Kennedy Lugar Youth Exchange Program, also known as YES, was established by Congress in October 2002 in response to the events of September 11, 2001. So basically, this program came about to bridge the gap between the United States and countries that have highly populated Muslim communities. So basically, we we bring to the U.S. Students, and we provide scholarships for these high school students from countries, as I said, from significant Muslim populations to spend up to 1 academic year in the U.S. So they come, U.S., and bridge the gap between their U.S. host families and their own cultures. It's an amazing thing. And if you want to know more about the YES program, you can go to www.yesprograms.org. We have all of our information there about the YES program. And before we even get into, I thought this was a great video to show right from the beginning, because yes, they come on, the students come to the US and they spend 1 year here on program, but I want you to see what it's like when the students actually have to go back to their home communities all over the world, actually 40 countries. So I want to go ahead and share this video just to give you a glimpse and a look into the daily life of YES alumni and their feelings about going back home when they come on program. It's amazing. Just take a look.
My shade year as a student gave me such pleasures. And dearly beloved, now that it has come to an end, please don't wake me up. But yes, it is time to illuminate the world with the light of my dream and the dreams of all your students.
My name is Syed Asad Ali, and I am from Pakistan. So I was selected among 850 students to share my experience on the Capitol Hill.
Time passed by.
All of those people who were there made me feel like that I was a part of something far beyond just an exchange year. I was a part of a family, a big global family, lots of brothers and sisters. And thanks to the Department of State that they made it come true. When I go back, I'm not gonna stop. I have more people to tell my story.
Our issue is actually sometimes friends and family at home do not seem interested in hearing about aspects of your experience that you find meaningful.
And of course, they're gonna call me crazy. They're gonna call me different one now.
I just got from America, right?
History has witnessed all the people who want change. They were the mad ones, but in our time, they're the legends.
YES program, it's really different from other exchange programs. The program starts after you go back home. Students come paying back to your community.
This year, this one project in Zanzibar, Tanzania, planting trees, cleaning the environment. So you get to do that on your own, and
When I went to DC, the best advice they gave us was not to wait. When we go, if we have a plan, we should start right away.
We have a whole community, a YES community, all over the world. They have great leadership qualities. They spread smiles. They are crazy. They're genius. And with them, I can change the world.
If that didn't move you, I don't know what will when it comes to YES alumni. One of my favorite parts of that video was when he said, "Don't wake me up," when the alumnus is making his speech. Just to put things into context for you before we go to the next slide, after 1 full academic year for these students, they end up going to Washington, D.C. to meet the diplomatic community and just these high-level officials. But most of all, they come together with their friends again. And this is their one last time together in the US before they all go to their different countries. Again, there are about 40 YES countries. So imagine you're away from your home for a year, last minute, Washington, D.C., a couple of days before going back home. Those feelings are just, it's indescribable. So I also like when he said they're genius, they're crazy, they're here to change the world. This is not just an exchange program where you come and you learn about US culture and then you go back home. No, it is about changing the world. So the amazing thing about YES Alumni is when they come to the US and they go back, they're not just going back, but they're going back with the desire to serve. So that brings me to, who are YES Alumni? Well, they're a global community of over 10,000 active youth leaders. They're change makers. As the alumnus said in the video, they're genius, they're crazy, they want to change the world. The goals of YES Alumni are to expand and practice what YES students have learned about volunteerism, community service, and citizen responsibility. So as I said, when they go back, these are alumni who want to make a change in education. They want to implement the UN Sustainable Development Goals in whatever way they can. They want to plant trees. They want to set up medical camps. Like, these are alumni who really want to do things for their community. So it's an amazing, amazing thing. We have alumni who are into anti-corruption and transparency. I think my colleague Gloria, prior to this, went over some of these already, but alumni who want to be social entrepreneurs, organize projects surrounding environmental rights, gender rights, human rights, persons with disabilities, public health, youth development. So these are all of the many, many causes that YES Alumni come together to fulfill in their own communities. 96.2% of YES students and 83% of YES abroad students see themselves as willing to make changes in their home communities. 96.6% of YES students and 83% of YES abroad students see themselves as more tolerant of people different from themselves after their program. And looking back on their year in America, 93% of YES students would choose to participate again. That's amazing. That's almost 100%. So what do we do as YES alumni coordinators here with the YES program? Well, we build strong alumni associations. As you can see, the last bullet says, looking back on their year, again, 93% of the students say they'll participate again. Well, that's because of the alumni associations that they go back to. We are here, and part of my position, almost 100% of my position, is to make sure that the alumni associations in these different countries are stronger than ever. So when these students go back home, they have a great support system. We also help with funding through the program and grant opportunities, fundraising for alumni. We make sure that the alumni associations are constantly growing. We support the local staff in each country to make sure they're cultivating alumni as mentors and advisors and assisting in funding, running workshops, connecting alumni with opportunities, and the list goes on and on. So it's kind of awesome to hear that they would want to do the program again. One of our biggest countries, Pakistan, for Global Youth Service Day, celebrated Global Youth Service Day in 18 cities, organized 90 projects, and involved 112 alumni. After all of which, 8,770 people were reached because of the acts of service of these alumni. So you have alumni who, they go to their alumni associations, they gather together, they come together and unite to do great things for their community. And this is a perfect example. Shout outs to Pakistan. Every time I see this, it's amazing. 90 projects. And if you haven't done anything for GYSD yet, it's coming up again in April. Make sure you're participating and connecting. If any YES alumni are watching this right now, there's still time to also have 90 projects if you can. Or maybe you're an alumnus or alumna who already has a passion to do something great. It's okay to go ahead and do something on your own. Like Joseph Jawa Kebi from Sierra Leone. He is from YES 2015-2016. So what Joseph did was pretty remarkable. He saw a problem, and this is what a lot of alumni do. They identify a problem in their community, and they go ahead and they do something about it. So what Joseph did was he saw that when he returned back to Sierra Leone, he saw that a lot of his peers were not achieving an exam called the WASSCE. So if you're in the US, that's like equivalent to the SATs or something like that. So a lot of his peers weren't doing well. As a matter of fact, they weren't even able to finish their exam. So what Joseph did was he used his technology skills he learned from his U.S. whole school, the Toledo Technology Academy, to create the WASSCE app. And now the WASSCE is the name of the exam in Sierra Leone. And not only in Sierra Leone, but in West Africa. This is an exam that West African high school students have to take to pass to the next grade. So because Joseph saw that this was a need, he created this amazing, groundbreaking app that you can get on Google, on the Google Play Store. I hope he brings it to iPhone. We'll see about that. But he helps high school students in West Africa pass the WASSCE exam. And because of this, Joseph has met so many people and has even gained the support of some U.S. Embassy officials in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Way to go, Joseph. And as I mentioned before, Philly wasn't able to make it, but Philly is a YES alumna from Mali. She participated in the YES program from 2011 to 2012. And just a little bit about the Mali YES Alumni Association before I get into what Philly has done. It was officially created in 2012. It gathers many active members and conducts various impactful activities throughout the country. And it works in close collaboration with existing youth associations in Mali. Some of the main activities, it aims at improving living conditions in rural and marginalized communities in Mali, and hopes to spread leadership and community service nationwide. And these are a couple of other things that the Mali Alumni, YES Alumni Association is doing as well. Youth leadership trainings, food distributions during Ramadan, visiting hospitals and orphanages, all these things that we can do, because you don't have to do something so huge to make an impact. And our alumni understand that even daily acts of deeds, it goes a long way. And then we have other activities. We wanted to show this great collage of activities. We have the Smile Camp with the SOS Village Kids. If we have anyone watching from the Mali Alumni Association, please feel free to pat yourself on the back for all of these things that you have done. Basic necessities, donations to villages, the installation of the first cyberspace in Burum Gao, and planting trees in National Nature Preservation Park. And remember, Mali is just one country out of like 40, so we have a lot of this going on all around the world. Freely has helped with promoting education for all, while emphasizing on women and girls, conducting surveys and applying adequate solutions on girls' education issues. Can anyone guess which STG this is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. STG number 5, gender equality. And this is what our Philly and our country alumni, our alumni in Mali are doing for girls. They're actually connecting this to sustainable goal number 5, which is huge, gender equality, and contributing to YES student recruitment. Philly has helped with reaching out to potential students in Mali, reaching out to them through social media and helping them to participating in selection process, interviewing them, possibly reviewing applications. She's been doing an amazing job with recruitment. Thank you, Philly. I wish she could be with us today. But we do have Tuhin here from Bangladesh. Tuhin, are you here?
I'm here.
Yes, we have Tuhin joining us from Bangladesh, and he is from the YES 2008 cohort. And he is joining us today. I think he may not be in Bangladesh, but he's definitely an alumnus from Bangladesh doing a lot of great things for the community. And I'd like him to present on the phenomenal things he's been doing. Thank you for joining us, Tuhin.
No worries. Thanks for the opportunity. So just to introduce myself, as Hannah has mentioned, my name is Tuhin. I was in 2008, 2009 YES cohort, and I attended Clover Park High School in Tacoma, Washington. and subsequently had the opportunity to grow and learn with the YES Alumni Association in Bangladesh. And I'm really glad to be able to share some of the experiences and some of the wonderful work that's been being done by the association. If you could go to the next slide. Currently, the organization has 332 members. So it's one of the growing organizations worldwide in the YES alumni community. The organization officially formed in 2010 with an elected executive body. So the idea behind having an elected executive body and being a self-governing organization was that we wanted our alumni to have the opportunity to not only decide on what project they wanted to do, but also at the same time collectively make sure that those opportunities were being distributed among all the alumni, and good ideas and good projects were being funded, and they had the ultimate say. So there, although the support staff of the YES country office provides material support to the organization, but the organization itself works in a self-governing way. So some of the work that YES Alumni Bangladesh has been doing revolving around the theme of skill development, language and education, social activism, and we'll be sharing some of the projects that they have done recently. So one of the projects that YES Alumni organization have done is Self-Defense 101. So it's essentially in Bangladesh, there is a lack of conversation regarding girls who are maybe in secondary or even in elementary schools about how to avoid harassment, and how to identify if you're being harassed, whether it could be in the street or in the any places. So to generate that conversation and to equip the girls with the skill set that they could stand up for themselves and actually and speak for each other as well as themselves. So what the organization did, we conducted training across 15 schools and universities, and talking to girls and making sure that they are aware of what are the things that they could be doing. Another ongoing project that YES Alumni Bangladesh has been doing is Small Food. So it's essentially a school for underprivileged kids in Bangladesh, and we have been doing this project over a few years now. So our main goal is to bring education to these underprivileged kids, but at the same time developing computer literacy and English competencies so they can have a leg up as they are pursuing their education and they move up to other schools. This is really an attempt to break the digital divide that we're seeing in developing countries like in Bangladesh, and then making sure these kids also have access to the technology, and they are, they're being well prepared as they move on with their education. And we regularly do medical camps for disaster reliefs, and recently we did a medical camp for flood victims. Flood is a very common problem in Bangladesh, and we are seeing more and more of that with climate change, and the severity has been increasing. So one of the things that we do, we go into the flood affected areas and offering medical camp where we're doing handing out medicine, but at the same time doing workshop on hygiene and how to take preventative measures to avoid some commonly avoidable diseases. So, and we have been doing this for a number of years, and whenever the needs are, the YES Alumni organization has been stepping up throughout Bangladesh. Lastly, the YES Alumni organization did a social youth activism workshop through schools and universities to engage students on civic activism. Although the project started around making content on social media and making blog posts and using those avenues to create meaningful conversation and actually challenging the preconception that we might have on various topic and actually generating those conversations. So the main theme for this project was citizens journalism and creating those campaigns on social media to make meaningful changes. Lastly, to highlight last two projects was 3.5 billion reasons. It was one of the project that YES Alumni has done recently. It was to educate, again, going on the same theme with women empowerment and making sure that the girls have access to higher education and reducing child marriage and generating those conversation in our classrooms throughout the country. So we train the kids, the students about how to bypass social barriers that they may have, what are the societal norm, and actually really challenge them to think about it, like how they can overcome. And YES Alumni, so the goal was that once we train these girls on the schools that YES Alumni have conducted those workshops, then they can go into their community and actually work with their peers and actually make sure that we are not forgetting about this huge, huge part in child education and making sure that girls are having an equal access to career and a path to higher education. Finally, Say Yes to Change was a training program for students on community service and leadership. So they were given a competition to come up with their own community service project, and we evaluated them, and we actually gave them a chance to implement those. And finally, we also taught those participants on the importance of documenting your work and actually how to report that meaningful changes that they were able to make in their community through those projects.
Oh my gosh, Tuhim, thank you so much. I mean, amazing. How do you feel knowing that you have been a part of all of these amazing projects?
Well, it's actually really rewarding personally. It not only like you get the satisfaction of that you're making a change in your community and making sure that people are benefiting from it, but at the same time, all of the YES alumni who are participating in this project, they are growing as an individual and a responsible citizen for the community. I think that is also a really big part of all of this work, and it's been really powerful for each and every one of the alumni that have participated in, and I'm sure that's the case throughout the world, where YES alumni are working.
Yes, absolutely. I really, I love 3.5 billion reasons. I want to dive into that, but before I do,
sure.
I do want to know from your experience from leaving as a student, as a YES student to an alumni, to an alumnus, what was the feeling like? What were you feeling when it was time for you to go back to Bangladesh? Were you nervous? Were you excited? Were you ready? Can you take us back to that time?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try. It seems 10,000 years ago now, although it has been only a few years. But one of the things that you're obviously, each and every one of those YES students are excited to see their family, to reunite with their friends. At the same time, they're extremely sad to leaving back all those connections, all those friends and host family, and in their community in America that they have lived in for a year. But then they go back to their home country, and then they face the issue of reverse culture shock. Like, okay, I know this country? I grew up here, and I lived in America for a year. Now it seems to me that there's a lot of things that I took as given, and I thought that could never be changed. Now I have seen that things could be done in a different way that could be beneficial for other people. So there's, then that phase comes into the student's mind, the sense of helplessness, like, how can I make that change as an individual in my community, and how can I really generate that change? I think those years, like all of this YES Alumni project that we see throughout that country, it actually comes from that longing that, I know that things can be done better. I know that I can empower others who may not be able to speak for themselves. So I think, that gives them a real sense of purpose, and, and that really stays with them as it has with me for the rest of their lives. And I think it's truly rewarding to go through that experience and actually taking the first step to make those changes.
Yeah. I think that's amazing. Thank you for that. I mean, it's, it has to be hard though, right? For sometimes when you go back, you're like you mentioned, being able to realize that you can make a difference. When do you think that happens? Is there like a specific time, or is it more so having that community of that YES Alumni community around you, doing it together with you?
I think it's a little bit of both, because our YES students are extremely accomplished when they're in their community. They're doing numerous number of community service hours, as well as attending school in America, and playing in participating in high school sports and all of that. So they know that they have that in them, that they can push those boundaries, like personally, and they can do all of that. And at the same time, when you go back when you're dealing with reverse culture shock, and you're trying to figure out 10,000 other things, where do I go to school? What do I do? What's the next step? Right. I think that's when YES Alumni Association as a whole steps in, because they can show them like, okay, we went through the same processes, and all those things that you may be frustrated about that coming back, why not do something about it? And actually, nurturing the newer cohort every year, so they themselves can become leaders in their community.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for that. And is there like a specific YES experience that inspired you the most, like as a student or as an alumnus?
Sure. I think one of the things when I went back home was happening that we're seeing like a lot of the community service projects were being conducted like in near around the capital, but just because of the logistical issue. And I think a lot of the YES countries may face those constraints because of for varieties of reasons that community service tend to be centered around a hub, a major city. So one of the things that I wanted to do was that, hey, I want to do a project in my own community, and I want to inspire other alumni who may not live in the capital, may not be in a major city, and how can we bring them in to do their own projects. So I think that was one of the things that really motivated me to do my first project when I went back, and I think that really showed me that those challenges that we took for granted, even as an association, that it cannot be done maybe in a remote area. I think we were able to disprove it, and I think that if we had the proper motivation and drive to do it, and I think you could do that, and that has been done and replicated many times since.
Yes, absolutely. And the YES Alumni community, I bet, after returning home, how powerful do you think the YES Alumni community is? Why would the YES Alumni community continue to need funding from donors?
I think one of the things that I always think that YES Alumni themselves are transformational leaders. They are not only they are not within their confine of, okay, I'm a group of these elite students who had won this scholarship. Now I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna stay in this club. It's really not about that. YES Alumni are really driven people who wants to make those change, who wants to take those Millennium Development Goals, or who wants to take those issues of social inequality and injustice and actually do something about it. Mm-hmm. And they're not only like developing themselves as leaders, but they're also bringing those skill set to their community and making sure that they are creating the next generation of transformational leader. One of the things that I always like to think about is that YES alumni themselves, yes, they're great leaders, but think about the generations to come that they're going to impact. Think about that multiplication of good leadership and people who really do care about their community, and they want to make those changes. And I think that's going to be really powerful. And it's really important for us to look beyond those projects by themselves, and hearing those success stories is important, but we also have to think about how many more lives it's touching. Like, we may have served X number of girls through 3.5 billion reasons, but the impact that we want to see is that how those girls are going back and amplifying those messages in their community. And I think that's extremely important to support.
Yes, I think that's why I love 3.5 billion reasons the most. It's because you're not just giving girls opportunities, you're actually training them to be leaders in their community so that they can teach other girls to be leaders. It's like a whole domino effect going on. But before we go into that, I know there are new people coming on and listening and watching. So for those who are just coming on, Tuhin, can you just introduce yourself one more time and tell us what you're doing right now as a YES alumnus?
Hi, my name is Tawfiq Tuhin. I am a YES alumni from 2008-2009 batch from Bangladesh. I have served in various capacity in the YES Alumni organization, from coordinating projects and serving in the executive board with the other members, and later on the years I have taken on an advisory role for the organization.
You went from a YES student to a YES alumnus to a YES advisor in a matter of a blink of an eye. Amazing, Tuhin. Thank you. So 3.5 billion reasons. How many girls have you reached so far with this initiative?
I believe I do not have the exact same number with me at this point, but I believe the idea was to do this with around 40 students in each cohort, and I know that we have done multiple of those workshops from different schools. And one of the things that we tried to do, we also wanted to bring girls from different backgrounds. So girls who goes to the elite English medium schools to girls who may be attending a madrasa and a very traditional setting. So kind of challenging their own preconception about each other's as well. So I think, and the idea was that the girls would go back and actually do those, transfer those skills back to their schools and in their community. So the impact is truly amplifying.
Awesome. I have a question about the medical camp. So you all have done several medical camps.
Sure.
Right? So my question has always been, and I'm glad I have someone here to answer this. How do you persuade the doctors or the physicians to even come and be a part of this? Because we have a lot of alumni. I'm asking this question because, and I want everyone to know out there that YES alumni are doing this from their hearts and from their pockets. These alumni are just doing what they have to do, and this is the reason why funding is so important for us to strengthen these alumni associations. So I say that to say the medical camp is a perfect example. You all are setting up these camps in marginalized communities to help people who do not have access to medicine or to treatment. But how are you getting the physicians to come on board with this?
So one of the things that is always challenging is we always want to make sure that whatever funding that we're using for whatever project that we're doing, we're utilizing each last dollar and trying to maximize its benefits. Right? So one of the things that we want to do, because the YES Alumni organization, in terms of where each alumna or alumnus is at this point, their network themselves is growing. So if we think about an YES alumni who have completed the program in 2005, their connection and their network that we can tap into for certain specific things. So one of the things that we've been trying to do for the most part is to like reach out to those people in our network to see, if we can find physicians or nurses who could go, or health professionals that could do those trainings. So for the most part, we look for volunteers, and we've been, extremely lucky to get those, and get those time donated from extremely busy professionals, and actually bring those to the community.
Yeah, I think that's amazing that you all go ahead and just get that support from them. That's really, really good. And my last question about the project, Smallfoot, one of the longest running projects you have besides 3.5 billion reasons, right?
Correct.
How did that come about, Smallfoot? And what is Smallfoot?
So Smallfoot, actually, it's one of our YES alumni. He has been extremely active with other project, Gulshan Zubair Prince. So what he's seen in his community was that the kids who were in slums and living in like a really poor living condition, didn't have their parents around, and they would be playing on the streets, or until to a point that where they can physically go and actually earn a living for their family at a very early age. So I think that really struck him, and he came up with this idea that we need to at least start this school at a very small level, and maybe we can expand it. So he actually started at his own home in the beginning, bringing in these kids and starting this project, and we were able to grow this year by year through support from various means. And the project, it's been sustained and it has grown. Its focus has shifted from giving those kids a place to get an education, to we are aiming that these kids be technologically savvy and they have those access to learning about different skill set that they would never have, because they wouldn't be able to go to the schools on the first place. So I think that has really evolved and has really grown over the years, and we're extremely happy that we're able to sustain it up to this point.
Yes, and we're extremely proud of you. How are you all getting the laptops and the technology? Are you getting those through donations as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, we're doing that. I think initially it started with sharing, and each of us like using the individual support. From that, we've been using those. We've been trying to get donations and stuff like that, and we're expanding that based off of that.
Thank you so much, Tuhin. If there was one thing you can tell the YES alumni community or anyone who wants to donate to iEARN to strengthen these YES alumni associations all over the world, what would it be?
I would think that, so a lot of the time we look at measurable impact on anything that we want to do. We want to think about the bottom line impact that our project is, our donation is making. But YES alumni globally is so diverse, and they have such good passion for the work that they do. Those impact, we can look at one project, and I'll reiterate that, that might impact 20 kids on one project. But think about that impact that will make to those 20 families, or those 5 communities, and that that amplification that each of those projects has is truly powerful. And that's one of the ways we can tackle a lot of those issues that seems extremely unattainable, but we can get there one step at a time.
I totally agree. Thank you, Tuhin, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Anna.
You can be on standby if you like. I'm just going to take us to the end.
Sounds good.
Yes, thank you. And we look forward to hearing more about the amazing things you're doing in Bangladesh.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have we're at the end of our presentation here about YES Alumni, but I do want to let you know about some other alumni programs we have going on throughout the year. We do quarterly webinars that bring together, this is actually one of my favorites. These webinars bring together alumni from all over the world. And this is the one opportunity they have to come together, to learn together, to strive together, and to lead together. So some of our webinars have been social media for social good, community health webinars, how to evaluate a project, teaching English, and how to present. So even though our alumni are all over the world, we have these webinars to make sure that they're continuously being fed the knowledge they need to continue to do what they're doing, the greatness they're doing in their communities. We also will be we're really looking forward to our UN SDG virtual summit. It will be a global virtual summit focusing on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We want to do 3 things: identify the goals, influence change using the goals, and inspire our communities using the SDGs. So this will be a virtual summit for all YES alumni to attend. Please look out for more information about that. And we've also in the past had digital storytelling workshops where we trained more than 150 alumni worldwide. That is a lot of YES alumni. And we've used short films and social media. We've taught our alumni how to use short films and social media to tell stories about their YES experience. So it's one thing to tell your mom or your dad about your YES experience, but how do you really use social media and leverage your skills in making films to tell the experience effectively? So we have these digital storytelling workshops, and we also try to fit them into other workshops as well. So we are running out of time because we have more virtual events coming up, but we want to thank you for continuing to support iEARN-USA and the global YES alumni community. We hope that you will just continue to double the love for global education, and while helping and supporting these physical exchange programs like the YES program. Thank you guys so much. Make a gift today. Happy Giving Tuesday.
And